Hey, welcome back to On the Porch. I am Todd, and as always, joined by Ken. And man, it's good to be back for another week. And this week we got a special episode for you. We're going to talk about 0 point energy. Ken's going to explain how fluctuations in the Heisenberg uncertainty theory causes 0 point energy, and what this will mean for quantum mechanics. So,
Man,
buckle
I
up.
don't know, dude.
We're in store for a great episode.
Well, dude, man, I didn't have much time to spend on that this week because, I was just sitting here studying and thinking about Newton's second law of motion,
Uh huh.
which is F equals mx times a. And what that means, like in layman's terms, is that force is equal to the mass times acceleration. So what it boils down to is it means that as the mass increases, the acceleration decreases. And as your mass decreases, acceleration increases. So I'm stuck in that part where my mass is increasing and my acceleration is decreasing.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how I can do that mathematically or some other way other than just the old fashioned get out there and hoof it up and down the road and eat rabbit food.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get that figured out, man. But
Yeah. We just have to increase the force.
yeah,
So
well, I didn't. Sorry, buddy, I didn't have much time to spend
that's all
on that
right.
this week.
We'll talk about maybe next week we can get on to 0 point energy. So
Okay, well, I'll try to work it in my schedule this week.
yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But man, how you been doing?
Man, I've been good. Spring has sprung up here on the mountain, and it's nice up here now. But
Yeah.
except for the pollen, the pollen's a little rough on me.
Yeah.
And hey,
To
Holly,
everybody. Hey, Holly.
and but it's been good, man. We've had some beautiful weather for 3 or 4 days in a row, and been out
Yeah.
riding a motorcycle, and of course working in the yard, all that good kind of stuff that we
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
have to do during the spring,
Black powder and Bibles. I finally remembered. Well, we so glad that you did. That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
great.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you, man. Appreciate it.
Then we got old Johnny Mags. hopping
Johnny
on.
Mags is here.
Yeah. So, guys, thanks for joining us. And man, it's been a crazy week. I say it's been a crazy week, but I can't tell you anything exactly what happened this week. So,
Has it been that kind of crazy?
yeah, it's like I don't know if it's been crazy or just I don't know. It's like I did a lot of stuff, but felt like I got nothing done. You ever have those
What
weeks?
you, yeah, don't know what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This week went by fast, but I can kind of tell you some of the things I did. But
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Holly's making mention that you got your summer beard.
oh yeah, I sure did, Holly. It was that time. Actually, I hadn't cut I trimmed my beard, but I hadn't cut it back like this in a few
Yeah.
years. It needed to start over.
Yeah. It's Paul from the York shoot. So he's the guy you were pestering
hey,
at
Paul.
the
Well, man, when you go down there, you don't pester guys too much because they're all sitting there holding 50 cows.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be careful.
Yeah, but Paul's an extremely nice guy, man. It was nice to meet him down there. And so yeah, it's like the second year in a row I've been down there. I didn't see Paul last year, I don't think. I don't know if I did or not. I can't remember. But anyways, hey, Paul.
Yeah. Oh, it's good times. But yeah, yeah, we were talking before we came on about Southern slang and stuff, and see what people understand and don't understand of that, and it kind of reminded me of American Idol last year with Colin Stowell about how me and you could understand what he was saying, but not everybody could.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember one time he said something and Katy Perry was like, "What? What did you just say?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always
Speaking of that, man, our friend Emmy is hanging in there. She's hanging tough.
Yeah.
How far have you watched? Have you watched?
Well,
have you already caught up?
we're still finishing up Hawaii. However, don't tell Holly I've kept an eye on what's happening live,
Okay.
you
All
know,
right. Well, Holly, we won't say anything.
yeah. So
We won't say anything.
I've been, we got through like half of Hawaii. Thing is I got kind of tired of paying like, what is it, like $18, $19 a month for Hulu without ads.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I pay, I don't know, $6 or $8 a month with Hulu with ads. Well, there's so many ads in there, because a lot of times I'll be like, oh, this person isn't, you know, isn't going to go very far. Or I'm not interested, you know, and I'll fast forward through them, you know, to get caught up, which makes the episodes go by a whole lot quicker. But when I do that now, it's like fast forward, then a minute and a half of ads. And then I watch a little bit. Oh, this isn't someone I'm interested in. Fast forward, another minute and a half of ads.
Right. Yeah.
And so before you know it, I'm just watching all kinds of ads and not really getting through anything.
Yeah.
So it might be one of those things I need to splurge for a month just to get, that way I can
Just to
fast
get
forward.
it.
Yeah.
Well, as much as we like that, man, you probably should.
Yeah. Yeah. I probably should. But James finally made it, he said. So.
Yeah, that's my buddy there. I was messaging earlier from the North Pole News Dispatch.
Yeah.
He says that he's listens to On the Porch on Spotify, but has never remembered to jump over here on Sunday nights.
Wow.
You know, which
well, it's good to have you here, James. I appreciate it. So.
Yeah, appreciate it, buddy.
Yeah, but I probably need to, because it's one of those things, you know. And I got to hear that the new Tori Kelly song. She sung it, and it's really good. And got to hear Ian Tungi sing his song, which I thought was really good. Waikiki, which is a nice play on words. So, yeah.
Well, hey, buddy. Last week, man, you talked about how you really like Randy Travis.
Yeah.
And I do too, man. I didn't put him on my Mount Rushmore because, well, his career ended kind of short, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you like country music and you don't like Randy Travis, then you're not listening to country music. You're listening to something else. But have you heard his new song? And did you know through AI, he's got a new song out, dude?
Really?
Yes, he does.
I have not heard that.
I wrote the name out of where that came from is the name of it. And there's some guy in country music. He's not as popular, but he don't sound like him, but he has a really deep voice, country voice, just like Randy. And so Randy knows what, you know, for those that don't know, it's listening. Randy Travis, he had a stroke several years back. Hadn't been able to really sing, hadn't been able to sing or anything, but his mind's still perfect. He just can't speak, but somehow through AI, he's gotten a new song out. They sampled, I think it was 43 of his old songs, and then put it to the words of the song he wrote and all that. And this guy singing it, and they kind of blend them, but then take the other guy out. Man, Randy Travis, dude. When you hear this new song, you're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But it's on. You can go to YouTube and listen to it there. I guess it's on. I guess it's on Spotify. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. Yeah, they can do that with the computers and stuff. Take samples of your voice, and then, you know, and the more samples they have of it and of you saying different things, they can really pinpoint it almost exactly. Yeah. You know, there's some inflections that are really hard for the computer to nail exactly. That's why when you get on, you know, if you watch a video that's got like a AI narration, you almost instantly know, because there's just certain inflections and pauses that the computer doesn't get yet, you know. And
well, it had no trouble understanding this. The only thing I understand that they had trouble with was the guy that's doing the singing. His vibrato. He was using a little bit more too much vibrato, and like you said, the computer didn't know what to do with that.
Yeah.
And Randy probably wouldn't have used that much vibrato anyways.
Right.
But so he had to sing that one part without vibrato.
Yeah.
It's awesome, dude, to hear him singing good.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, just something about that his voice is so warm and welcoming, and
Hmm.
it just you can't help but to smile,
No,
when
man,
you hear it.
when you go back and listen to those songs, it's just like, wow, he was just pure and clean, and
Yeah.
the voice. There's just now I know they're good. They're good in their own ways. I'm not trying to be an old curmudgeon or whatever it's called, but nowadays they put all that electronic stuff on their voice.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about an auto tune. I don't even know what you call it, but it kind of sounds like
Hmm.
you can tell it's being run through some sort of electronics.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just not plain old singing,
Yeah.
like Alan Jackson or Randy Travis would do.
Hmm. Yeah. Ken, how familiar are you with um like 80s glam rock hair metal bands?
Dude, let me tell you what, man. In the 80s, I was in my 20s,
Uh-huh.
and I have no idea what I remember out there sometimes from the 80s. I was like, where was that? And they say, that was like 1884. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Well,
But some things I remember, and I just never know. So run it by me and let's
yeah.
see what's
Well,
up there.
that's pretty popular song from then. Poison, Don't Need Nothing But a Good Time. Do you remember that song?
I would if I heard it, I'm sure,
I'm sure you
but
would.
I can't remember the names of them.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I'm
wasn't
sure
worried
you
about the
would.
names of songs back in those days.
Yeah. I
I had two
still
things in my mind.
something for I don't know, forever, like probably 20 years, I have wondered why there has been zero country artists cover that song. It lyrically it's perfectly a country song. It's about,
Hmm.
working hard and then like not getting your just due at work and just needing, to be off work and have a good time, and party and all that stuff and enjoy your friends and things. It's like lyrically a perfect blue collar country song.
Right.
And it's like, why has no country artist covered this? It would be a great, you know, like intro song for a concert or something,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
upbeat and uh, I hate saying like a rock and country song. That sounds stupid, but just more of a, party song kind of thing. But I just
Yeah.
don't know why that is one that they haven't covered. What's his name covered Fast Car, and
Oh yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
really like super popular and stuff, and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lyrically that song's like for me has always been from the female perspective,
Mm-hmm.
because I remember when Tracy Chapman came out with that song. I get it, and it was good. It just was an odd choice for me. It's like, why don't someone cover something like "Don't Need Nothing But a Good Time"? It's perfect. It's a perfect country song as it is. You
Right.
know, I mean, David Allan probably wouldn't call it perfect country song because it doesn't say anything about mama or rain or trucks or railroads, trains. So, but
Yeah. So are we talking about so we talking about we, we need to do a Mount Rushmore of those songs, those types of songs,
yeah,
rock and roll songs. It would be good country songs because you know
yeah,
a lot of the old rock and roll, man. You're talking about from the '80s, but from the '70s,
yeah,
a lot of that rock and roll was just straight up what they're calling country now, which I like that. Like a
yeah,
lot of the Eagles stuff,
yeah. That
could be considered country now.
yeah, a lot of that
But
southern rock kind of sound.
mm, but here's a dude. Did you know that the Rolling Stones, they may have had more than one, but they definitely had one country song,
Oh yeah,
"Faraway Eyes." Have you ever heard that?
yeah. I remember that song. Yeah,
It's got a pedal steel and stuff in
yeah,
there. I forget the guy's name, the guitar player. He learned to play the pedal steel, and so they put it on there.
yeah.
But Mick
Well,
Jagger singing it. It's pretty
yeah.
cool.
To me, the Rolling Stones aren't but a stone throw away from a country band anyway, because they're such a blues band.
Hmm.
They're such a blues band, and a lot of those early rock bands,
Hmm.
they're just white British guys playing the blues. you know,
Yeah.
and it comes across as rock, and so songs like Honky Tonk Women, and Brown Sugar,
Hmm.
very country
Right.
feel to them, even though
Sure.
they're classified as a rock song,
Yeah.
So, but
Another older band like that, the Byrds. A lot
yeah,
of people just think the Byrds is nothing but rock music. Man, they had some really good country music, and
yeah,
I think "Sweethearts of the Rodeo" is the name of the album.
hmm,
If you can listen, anybody wants to listen to it, just pull that album up on YouTube and go down through there. There's some good ones on there.
yeah, yeah. It's just like I said, it's just so that music is just a derivative of you know American country and American blues,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
some American gospel, so
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Paul says, "Honky Tonk Girls." That is one. That's a country song.
yeah. So nothing like the word honky tonk. Can you not say honky tonk and not smile?
I know, right? Hank Williams started all that, man.
Did he
You know,
invent the
he's a.
phrase honky tonk?
I think he did, man. I
Yeah.
think I think so. Because, but see, the thing about Hank Williams is he changed the way country music was.
Uh-huh.
Uh, like sort of the way he did not like Elvis. Let's see who else. He changed it like Randy Travis changed it, and a lot of people
Yeah.
don't realize that when Randy Travis came along,
Mm-hmm.
he's the first one that kind of put it. It sounded different. I don't know what you would call
Yeah.
it, but whatever his sound is now, when he first came out with that, nobody else was playing anything. I don't know if it wasn't as country or it was more. I don't know. It was more polished or so.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say it, but
Well,
he's the first one.
yeah. Was that when country was kind of? I'm trying to think. He came out like the early '80s, I believe. Um, if I'm right.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Was that when like country music was like flirting with disco a little bit? You know, and
I don't know if it ever did it ever do that, man. If it
yeah,
did, that
yeah. Some of the
it did
Kenny
it.
Rogers stuff in my mind is kind of,
Oh yeah,
kind of,
Kenny Rogers, man. Kenny
yeah.
Rogers, his band leader lived two doors down from me in Nashville, and
Uh,
Kenny Rogers was a good guy, but I never was. To me, that's not country music,
yeah,
dude.
yeah. But he was so
That's
popular,
oh yeah, the women loved him back in the
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
Then he got his facelift, and he jokes about it. Say, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that.
yeah.
He looked
Nobody
like a
should.
different dude.
Nobody should.
No,
Nobody should.
well with him, he always looked like he just saw an alien or something.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
you know,
But
if there's anybody, celebrity or anybody out there that's thinking about doing the facelift, Botox things, don't just
but
grow old naturally, please.
well, there's a lady that we know that just had one, and she just did not the eyes, not everything, but she
Uh-huh.
just did a little something. It looks really good, man,
Yeah,
on her. Yeah, it
yeah,
looks really good on her. But
but
yeah, so that's not something you want to. It's like a dentist, you don't want to cut corners on your dentist, and you sure don't want to cut corners on trying to save a few bucks
yeah,
on
yeah,
the surgeon that's going to be making you.
yeah,
I mean, you may come out there with one eye lower than the other or something.
yeah, yeah. So Hank changed country music. Elvis changed music. The Beatles
Elvis
changed music.
changed. Elvis
Yeah,
changed the world.
yeah. The Beatles changed music. Jimi Hendrix. Would you say Led Zeppelin
Well,
did?
Led Zeppelin, in my opinion, is the greatest rock band ever.
Yeah,
I mean, they're just ever, dude. You
yeah,
listen to their albums and you can argue, but you can't say no. But anyways,
yeah,
so yeah, Randy changed country, kind of sent it in another direction,
mhm,
saved it from the disco country. I guess never thought of it that way, but yeah, a lot of that Kenny Rogers stuff was. But so the question
mhm.
was, who changed what now?
I'm just trying to think of all the artists that change, like actually changed music.
Mm,
Like Run DMC. They didn't invent rap music, but they're the ones that changed it and made it, take it the path it did today. Kurt Cobain and Nirvana, they changed music. I can't after Nirvana, I can't think of a band that's changed music or as solo artist or anything. I guess maybe Taylor Swift, but I don't know.
Taylor Swift, man, she's something else. But I'm trying to think if there'd be anybody else that I can remember. The Eagles, before they got together and became the Eagles, that whole bunch. Oh, what was it called? Something Canyon. It's out in California.
Oh yeah.
It's where a lot of them.
Yeah, on the tip of my tongue. It's on the tip of my tongue. Holly might know if she's still listening. Yeah, Laurel Canyon.
Laurel Canyon.
Yeah.
Out of that bunch out there, man. I mean, it came back, east, but gosh, man, there were so many of them. A couple of guys from the Eagles, and let's see who else. Not Bruce Hornsby. My gosh.
Sawyer Brown.
No, Jackson Brown.
Jackson Brown. That's it.
Jackson Brown, Linda Ronstadt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they all that came out and then came back and this way, and I forget I don't know if it was Texas or I forget where it was that they hung out. Winslow, Arizona.
Yeah, that's where. Jackson Brown's the one that wrote most of "Take It Easy," but he gave it to Glenn Frey because he couldn't finish the second verse.
Oh, is that right?
And
okay.
And then Glenn Frey was the one that come up with the one about the Ford slowing down and take a look at me line.
Mm-hmm. Standing on the corner of Winslow, Arizona.
Yeah, he's the one that came up with that line to kind of get that second verse going, and then so he had them, had that going on.
Yeah, but so what we was talking about, that changed a lot right there, man. That I don't really know where Southern rock started, if it was going on in another place, because I know like Leonard Skinner, they were from Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The Eagles had their own style of, back then it was considered rock.
Yeah.
Nowadays it would be super mellow like rock if it was still in that genre, because they did have some guitar solos and stuff like that. But I think that Laurel Canyon, that was a big factor.
Yeah.
There. And let's see, you said Jimi Hendrix. I don't know if he changed. I don't think he changed. He was just one of the best guitarists ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Elvis, man, Elvis changed everything, dude. I mean, he was the first one that was big enough that needed security. All the security. You ever heard the saying Elvis has left the building?
Oh yeah.
Well, nobody ever had to do anything like that. Nobody ever had to get whisked away. But so, a lot of stuff that's going on now. Elvis created, so he was the first man to be a superstar.
Yeah,
I mean, he was the first, and there was no model to follow in all his development and everything that went on, all his travel and all that. I mean, they didn't do it like as much as Elvis did, but so that changed the world, and then changed music completely. It created, off that came the rock and roll and that we listen to nowadays.
Yeah.
But, who else say the Beatles? I don't know about the Beatles, man. I honestly, I told you a couple episodes ago, I've been mad at the Beatles since I was a kid because they hated on Elvis for a minute, but I'm starting to get over them slowly but surely, and they kind of did. I guess they were. Yeah. You can't say they didn't.
Yeah, not like them good deep Southern grudges.
I know it, right? You're a darn Hatfield. Get back over on your side.
We do a lot of good things in the South, and one thing we do real well is hold a grudge.
Yeah, hold a grudge and make banana pudding, buddy.
Yeah, we could hold the grudge with the best of them. We got, and we're not gonna forget either. It could be something that happened to my grandmammy, 150 years ago, and I'm going to tell you every detail about it and still be mad.
Yeah. Man,
Yeah.
right here where I live is about, I don't know, I think it's 14 miles
Mm-hmm.
just across the Kentucky line
Yeah.
up in the hills. And the main road out here, the 127 that has the big
Yep.
yard sale, that was a route. That's how from Kentucky, that was a well traveled road there. It still is today. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
still is today. But they built a little encampment down there because they would catch people that was trying to sneak off. What do you call it? When you left the army, and you left,
No,
went home.
deserter.
Yeah, deserters. They
Mm-hmm.
would catch deserters right there and catch the North if they tried to launch attack on Middle Tennessee. They
Uh-huh.
would one of the best ways to try to sneak in would have been down that road. So yeah, so they held a
Right.
grudge for a long time there, man.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Aerosmith does owe their second life to Run DMC.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, definitely that's true. Yeah. I think I feel like Depeche Mode was a different sound. That definitely was. Definitely was a different
What?
sound.
See,
Oh,
did that happen during the '80s, or am I just old? I don't even know what that
yeah.
means, man.
Yeah, Depeche Mode. They had a couple of hits, but they had a real progressive '80s sound to them.
Mm,
It really encapsulates like what the '80s rock would
mm,
be. So
okay.
yeah, definitely so. But yeah, I actually was listening not long ago to "Walk This Way," the Aerosmith Run DMC version. And
Mm,
there's some Steven Tyler screams at the end of that I don't even know why they made the cut. They sound so terrible. you know,
really? Mm,
it's like I don't think we really needed all that, but
yeah.
it is a fun song. And
Man, man, the town of Nashville has opened their arms and embraced Steven Tyler. I mean,
oh
he's
yeah,
around there. He lives there now, and
hmm
he's around town a lot. And
yeah,
he does a lot of good things in town.
yeah. There used to be this Gap commercial with him and Joe Perry, the guitarist from Aerosmith, where Joe Perry's playing
Hmm.
like an acoustic slide guitar. He's got the old slide on there, and he's standing there playing, and then um, Steven Tyler's like got a snare drum. He's sitting down and he's playing a snare drum, and then he's got a mic with a harmonica on the end, holding it together, and then
Yeah,
he's like singing, and then he plays the harmonica while he's just playing on that snare drum. It's so cool. It's so cool that I
yeah.
could listen to that for days. It was so cool.
He's a talented guy, man, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, he
Oh
sure
yeah.
is. He can flat sing. I mean, that's it's some screams in there, but he he can sing, man. He has a
Oh yeah.
one of a kind voice.
Yeah. 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 They do, and unfortunately, when they get older, they can't hit all them high notes. We haven't got
Yeah,
there yet, Ken. We can still hit all the high notes we
that that's
originally
right.
wrote. But
Yeah, man, our bed. Let me tell you, I've hit a few high notes. We got this bed frame, man, and it has the four legs in the corners, but then
uh-huh.
halfway down the bed, there's another leg,
Uh-huh.
and it's right out on the edge of the frame. It's not
Oh,
like why couldn't they offset that joker back in there 6 inches or something?
yeah.
It's right on the edge, man. And I have left my toenails hanging on those things 2 or 3 times since we've been living up here.
Oh man.
But talking about hitting some high notes, man,
Yeah.
and a few choice words as well. Nothing like that at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh. I know it's like I get up and we got one of those beds that when you get up, when it senses someone gets up, there's a light that comes on underneath it,
Hmm.
which is
Wow,
cool.
that's fancy.
Yeah, it is fancy, which is cool. And when I get up, I have to like go around the foot of the bed and down the other side to get to the bathroom in our bedroom.
Hmm.
And that was really cool, to do it. And we used to have this like little chest in front of the bed, which didn't really block much of the light for whatever reason. But now since I got that TV cabinet there, well, it didn't block much of light because it was shorter than the bed was, but the TV cabinet's the same width as the bed. So now it's
Hmm.
like when I get to that side of the bed, it's like shuffle my feet and don't pick it up and feel around and make sure I'm not
Yeah,
gonna,
right.
do anything crazy and snag
Not,
my
not
toes
gonna.
and
Yeah, leave a
yeah,
toe hanging on it.
yeah. So,
It's terrible, man.
but
It really is.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's
But
like,
yeah, now when I walk around our bed at night, I look like a drunk penguin or something, man. I don't know, just waddling back and forth,
yeah,
kicking my
yeah,
feet out. I'm like, I am not
yeah,
leaving another toe hanging on that
yeah.
bedpost. You know,
Oh man, there's nothing worse than it's like, why is stubbing your toe and getting kicked in or hitting the shins so painful? You know.
I don't know what's worse, man, stubbing your
Uh,
toe or stepping on like a Lego or
oh
something.
my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Paul says that he put a pull noodle on his.
Mm,
That's a good
that's a
idea.
good idea. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is, buddy. That's
Yeah.
coming up tomorrow. We've got a couple down there
Yeah.
in downstairs. I'm gonna fix that up, man.
Yeah. Yeah. There's lots of stuff you can do with pull noodles. If you ever get bored, get on YouTube and look up pull noodle
Mm,
crafts. There's all kinds of
mm.
stuff. And I even seen a guy that like patch cracks in concrete and use noodles as the base. You know,
Really?
he'd cut them up and shove them way down in the crack, so he didn't have to fill the whole thing up. And then he poured all
Mm,
the patch concrete and stuff on top of it. And
yeah.
and he
That work?
it works because I guess there's some kind of foamy stuff that you can buy just for patching cracks in
Mm,
concrete, and it's
mm.
basically the same material as pool noodles, except pool noodles are way cheaper. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah, but
Trying
yeah,
to think what we've used. I don't know if I've ever used a pool noodle for anything but floating, man. We get out there
yeah.
in the lake, just float around on them,
My
and
I built a
so,
frame. I built a frame for my mom. She wanted a full size Grinch a couple of years ago for Christmas. And so I
mm,
built like a body frame and I used pool noodles for the legs and arms, you know,
mm,
for it. So
okay.
and housing wire so it could bend, so
Did it
but
work good?
yeah, it worked pretty good. It worked pretty good until and he was up in storage and then when my niece uh, was up there getting something, she turned around and it scared him and she punched it and knocked his head off. So
Man, that reminds me when my son was growing up. I had one of these. I don't know where I got it at Walmart or someplace, but it was like a skeleton. It was like 7 foot tall,
uh-huh.
and it was motion detected. And it would say it had 5 or 6 different things. It would say it was a Grim Reaper is what it was.
Mhm.
And during Halloween, we'd put it outside at night, and I'd bring it inside. You know, I didn't want somebody to steal it or rain on it.
Uh-huh.
And so, man, it scared the bejesus out of me a couple of times, at night and get walking through the living room and hello, and when you look over and it's that Grim Reaper.
Oh yeah.
I did that a couple of times, and I finally put it in the bathroom. I said, "Okay, I'm gonna take care of this. I'm gonna put it in our other bathroom, the one we don't use very much."
Yeah.
And I put it in there, and I got up and Mary was in our restroom, so I went to the other one. Totally forgot about it, man. I
Uh-huh.
walked in there and that thing was, I forget what, it started laughing and said something, and I almost died. Almost died. I mean, you have a 7 foot Grim Reaper, that starts talking when you walk in front of it.
Uh-huh.
It was terrible.
Oh yeah. Uh,
That
on,
was pretty spooky.
on my mail route, I have a house that has a video doorbell, and they get quite a few parcels. Every time I deliver it, the doorbell goes, "Hello, you're being recorded," and it scares me every time. It's like I know
Oh,
it's
does it?
coming. It's like
Yeah.
I walk up there. It's gonna say it, but it never says it at the same time. Sometimes it like waits till I walk away, or sometimes it waits till I'm coming up on the porch. I can't never gauge when it's gonna say it. It's like,
Kind of like a
geez.
Jack in the Box.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you
but
when you want a Jack in the Box, you never know when it's going to
yeah.
pop up and
It-
scare you.
well, see, Jack in the boxes don't bother me. That might jump, but it doesn't bother me to sit there and do it. But for some
Hmm.
reason that doorbell, and I'm easily scared. You know, and I don't know why. I get it from my dad, I guess.
Hmm.
Just it doesn't take much for me to jump and stuff. But hey, Doug. Hey, Harney. Guys, thanks for hopping in here, guys.
They here? Yep.
Yep, yep. They hopped in just a few minutes ago. So
What's
yeah,
yeah, man, I always crack you up, man.
yeah,
I'd love to sit down sometime. We could exchange stories.
yeah, yeah.
I have
So
a I have a lifetime of stories, especially during the '80s when I didn't remember what was going on. I didn't remember what I was doing, but I remember what happened to me a few
Yeah,
times. It's,
yeah,
I
yeah,
lost boots, and I'm not even gonna get to it.
yeah, yeah.
That's another podcast, maybe.
Yeah, Ken don't remember the '80s, and I told him I was like, Ronald Reagan was president, and he was like, the actor.
Yeah, Doug and Arnie. I don't know if y'all were here earlier, but we were talking about some rock music from the '80s, and Todd was like, "Do you remember this, Poison, this, and that?" I'm like, "Dude, I was in my 20s. There's not a whole lot that I remember from the '80s. I mean, I'll get flashes of it. I say, man, I remember doing that, or I've done that before. Or, remember the time I did this? But if you just sit down and ask me about it, name of a song or a name of a city I was at, I can't tell you all that.
Yeah,
It's just pops in and out when it wants to.
well, the '80s have been, what is it, 24, 34, 35 years ago, 36 years ago since we were in the '80s.
Mm-hmm.
That just doesn't sound right at all.
What was man, so Star Wars
1977, A New Hope.
is that what it is? Can you believe it? How many years is that? God,
Well, that's 47. Be 47 this year because it came out the same year I was born. So
yes, Arnie, I lost my boots, and we'll talk about that later.
stay tuned to the episode of On the Porch where Ken loses his boots.
Yeah. Gosh.
Oh man. Yeah, oh man, it's crazy. When someone says like 20 years ago, I'm thinking it's the '80s still.
No, 20 years ago was past 2000,
Yeah, I know.
I mean, think about that. How fast time flies. Man.
Yeah. It's like Holly always says. She always says that the days are long, but the years are short. And
how true is that, man?
It is true. It is true because it's like it's like you look up and before you know it, 5, 6, 7 years has gone by, and it's like, what happened?
Yeah. But, yeah, I'm at that point in my life now, dude. It's like there's some things I've been talking about doing for several years. It's time to do them,
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of scared to do them. I wasn't 5 or 6 years ago, but now I'm like, I don't know if I want to go that far by myself.
Yeah.
I want to take some motorcycle trips and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
I've always wanted to swim with the sharks and feed lions and milk poisonous snakes, but I'm just kidding, dude. I don't want to do anything like that. But yeah, I just time to get on with the show.
Yeah. Well, you're what 14 miles from Kentucky and go to one of them churches that handle the snakes.
Oh, I don't have to go that far, man. They are around here, brother.
You get that milk and poisonous snakes thing checked off your list.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I will not be doing that. There's a lot of copperheads and a lot of rattlesnakes around here.
Yeah, we have them here. Rattlesnakes aren't. There are some, but you really have to go away from people. But the copperheads and those are numerous around here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you can ask Paul. He's been down there at Pall Mall, which is down the mountain where that chute was, and there's nothing to keep it from being snakes down there.
Yeah.
There's bears and snakes and all kinds of stuff down there. I saw a huge bear down there, Paul, if you're still listening, right across the road from where that chute was at. Huge. I mean, it was a black bear, but this was like a grandpa black bear. I rounded the corner of my truck, and I guess I snuck up on him. And as soon as he saw me, he ran off. But he stopped and turned around and looked at me. And his face, like most of them, like around their nose, is brown, you know. But his whole up to his eyes was encompassed in the brown.
Oh,
you know what I mean? And all the way around. And just a huge black bear, dude. When he was running, he was like loping and kind of jiggling. He was just huge, man. Huge. But anyway, that was down there, Paul, just right across the street from where you were
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. Well, there's black bears starting to come back to our area. They're not very numerous yet. You kind of have to go a little bit more west, to see
Mm.
them. But Arnie and Doug said they don't want to do any of the things you want to do, but they do have their motorcycle license and a scuba cert, and they've jumped out of airplanes, which
See,
is,
see that right there. I was thinking about. I was considering coming out there and seeing the Christmas trees,
uh-huh.
Doug and Arnie. But if you jump out of a good airplane, you're about half crazy, man. So I don't know, man. I may have to reconsider that, dude.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. That's pretty daring, man. Jumping out of an airplane. I hadn't. I couldn't do that.
I probably could have 20 years ago, but anymore, I just
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I don't know if I could get myself to do it.
On the
Yeah.
80s, man, I'd been all over that.
Yeah. Yeah. You wouldn't remember. Maybe you did.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Maybe you
I
did.
do know I went rappelling once, but couldn't tell you where or anything like that. I just remember doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you mean, Sasquatch?
Yeah. Maybe you
What's
saw a
up?
Sasquatch and not a bear.
Oh, is that what? No,
Yeah.
this was a bear. But speaking of Sasquatch, I was planning on going, but it rained all weekend, so I didn't. To the Sasquatch festival that's in Gatlinburg,
Oh,
right
yeah.
there, Sevierville, right in Gatlinburg. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah.
They got all those Sasquatch guys off of TV. I don't watch any of them. I've seen them before, but
Yeah.
it's a pretty big festival,
Yeah.
man.
Go
A
out and
lot
go
of traffic.
squatching.
Yeah, go squatching.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't go to that. I went to, and it even rained here. My wife and I, we tried to go to a couple happenings around, like out
Uh-huh.
in Rugby, it's only about 30 minutes from here, Rugby. And I don't know if I ever told you about that, but it was back in the 1880s, there was a English author that moved here, and he was trying to create just a utopia, just a settlement where
Uh-huh.
for artists and that, that types of things where they could
Right.
just live in harmony. And it lasted a while, but then it went away. But
Yep.
people still managed to live there, and they preserved all the homes and all that stuff in it's a little community. And so they had some kind of, they had a British, because those were English people that moved there, and
Mhm.
they had a British festival Sunday, and we tried to go to that. They did the maypole thing, and they have dancers, and they even had a old timey cricket game where they all were wearing like the white shirts and suspenders. No, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And they, of course, they had food and dancing and all that. But we got there and it was pouring down rain. And, I was like, nah, we're not. I didn't want to endure that just to
Yeah.
get out there and walk around. And so we turned around and went to R.M. Brooks General Store, which was built in like the 1920s. And
Uh-huh.
it's really cool because they had a uh, Rumble and Rugby is what they called it. It was like a car show with music and
Uh-huh.
food trucks and just a lot of happening there,
Yeah.
And we swung by there because it was just right down the road. Of course, it was raining again, so we're like, it was a wonder there was any of those guys that were there for the car show. Most
Uh-huh.
time they won't get their cars out in the rain, but they
Right.
did here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was kind of a bust, as
Yeah.
far as that goes.
It was a busy Saturday in our area. Of course, I had to work, so I didn't get, but they had like monster trucks come in
Mm-hmm.
and put on a show in the middle of town. And then they had it's called the Muddy River Marathon in Cape Girardeau. They had that running at the same time. And then they had out by the river, they had soapbox car races going on.
Mm.
And so of course we didn't have any rain, maybe a quick shower
Mm-hmm.
or something, but man, it was full. People everywhere doing all kinds of stuff. And like I said, I didn't get to see any of it because I was putting mail in boxes, but it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
man, we had something happen Saturday night. Is at the fairgrounds. They call it let's see, something on the mountain, rumble on the mountain, or pulling on the mountain. It was at the fairgrounds. That'd be these trucks come from all over the country and come here.
Yeah.
Had a big deal over there where like truck pulls, but I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
just wasn't gonna go to that.
Yeah.
You know?
Paul says you can ride your bike up to Michigan, and they got Christmas trees, no venomous snakes, and big water with no sharks. So,
Okay, there you go. Yeah, they do got Christmas trees, man, up there
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's Michigan's where that reindeer farm that I want to go to up there.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was the name of that? I can't remember the name of it now.
Yeah.
I've been talking
Yeah.
about going up there for a couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if that's
Never
close to
have.
Frankenmuth.
It's 1 hour away.
1 hour. I mean, you might as well hit Bronner's when you're up there. Go to it. So.
Yeah, it's 1 hour. 1 hour away.
Yeah. So, but
Are you going back to Bronner's this year?
no, not this year. So,
Okay.
no, we're going. We're actually heading your way 2 times this year. So,
Yeah.
yeah. We're gonna come out and visit you for the 127, and then we're gonna take Mom and Dad want to go back to Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg area, but they don't want to drive. So me and Holly's going with them so I can drive. And,
Yeah.
So
I've been thinking about going and staying at that hotel out there just for the heck of it during the summer. I got to wait till it gets hot though.
Yeah.
In that Christmas hotel. It's Christmas year round.
Yeah, go there in the summer. If you wait till September, the prices go way up.
Yeah, and probably can't get in there too.
Yeah, as soon as it hits that burr month, it goes way up. We end up getting a Airbnb for like a lot cheaper than a hotel room there. And it's right in the middle of everything. So yeah.
Okay, well that's good. That's good, man.
Yeah. So
that place sure has grown. Geez.
Yeah. Well, we Mom and Dad like finding a place that has like the free hot breakfast, a hotel and stuff. But we had a budget, and we really couldn't find one that did that in the budget. There were kind of okay ones, but they kind of were. The reviews were mixed and older, and like, well, if we looked at Verbo or Airbnb, and ended up finding one, with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, some kind of condo, like right in the middle of on the strip there in Pigeon Forge, real close to everything, and it was like cheaper than the cheapest hotel room we were considering, and it's like, well, for that much savings, we can buy our own breakfast,
Yeah, sure you can. Yeah, that's good, man.
So I think we'll probably take some food to have breakfast there instead of eating out, but.
Well, I think when you come here, the fishing cabin over here I think you got the friends and family rate on that when you come to the 127.
Yeah, have to let me know.
So that should be pretty good.
Yeah.
But the burr months.
Yeah.
Burr months for sure. That's what was we talking about that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's got that coming up.
Yeah.
And Doug and Arnie, what I was just talking to, we're looking.
Yeah, they're looking at 40 trees.
40. Oh my goodness. That can't be possible in one house. But so you're doing that, man. Tell me when I can come out there, because as I was talking about earlier, there's things I've been planning on doing that I just need to go ahead and do them. And talked about last year coming out there because I still get to fly free. Yay.
Yeah.
And so Doug and Arnie, I want to come out there and see them, man. So just
tell me
when. Tell me when.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So that's something you get to do, even though you're retired, fly for free, huh? On standby.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's standby. So you have to leave like usually on the very first flight, or come back on the red eyes or whatever.
Yeah,
but
still for free.
Yeah. Oh yes, yeah. So and now before it was kind of stressful because I had to be back to be at work, but now it's like oh. Well, I guess I just gotta stay another night, and sometimes you might be able to get. I don't know if they do it since was an employee or not, but they'll offer vouchers, like $300 vouchers or something to take the next flight. They offer me that, I'm doing that all day.
Yeah,
The flight's full and I can't get on.
Yeah, I had a fight with Southwest Airlines a couple of years ago. I had bought a ticket to go to Christmas Con, and of course then the pandemic hit, so it got canceled and got moved to like the next year. So I just moved my flight, and then I wasn't going to be able to make it. And so I just kind of, it was like I bought a round trip ticket to, I think it was LAX or whatever for like $400. It was pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And then they told me, they're like, you're gonna have to use it, or or it's gonna go away. And then Holly and Taylor were wanting to go to California to visit her family, and I was like, well, maybe they can use it. Well, it's not transferable. It's like, well,
Yeah.
that was dumb. And they're like, well, you can transfer it after this certain date, but you lose half of it. It's like, and I'd call, end up calling like 3 times. I call and be like, come on, guys, it's $400. You guys got all this
Right.
money from the COVID stuff and all this and that. And, I couldn't make it. Don't know when we'll be able to use this. I'm just going to lose it. And first two people couldn't help me out at all. They just wouldn't. And I'll
It
never
just wouldn't
forget.
do it.
Yeah. I'll never forget it. And then I finally called one day, and I got a guy named Frank, and he was in San Antonio. And I told him, I went throughout all that song and dance with him again. And he's like looking at it. He's like, oh, look. He says, it looks like on this day we changed the flight, which they changed like the flight time from like 10 minutes or something. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And he goes, well, that means you're good for a full refund, but it has to be back on the card that you purchased the tickets on. I'm like, that's fine because it was my debit card.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like,
So you got your money back.
so I don't know why Frank could do it, but the two people before him couldn't. But
Right.
just
Yeah.
you always got to keep calling customer service till you can get to that one person that knows what they're doing. And it's not the people that just want to get you off the phone. So
Yeah. Man, travel sure has changed, dude. Whenever, I worked for Southwest for 28 years and I worked for American Airlines for 8 years. And we used to be able to, like, my wife would drop me off at the front of the airport 10 minutes before the plane
yeah,
left. And I'd walk right down because there was no
yeah,
security, no anything. Walk right up to the gate agent, give her my little pass,
uh-huh,
and get right on the plane. That
yep,
easy. But after 9/11, that all changed.
oh yeah, yeah,
But it was we used to fly, man. Um, we would go to New Orleans several times a year, just fly down, have lunch, walk around the fifth French Quarter,
mm-hmm,
and then come back home. And we did a lot of day trips,
yeah,
because we still had jobs. But we
yeah,
did a lot of day trips, like go to Chicago and watch the Cubs play. One day, that was a great day trip because you just fly into Chicago in the Midway,
mm-hmm,
and I think you take the. Well, I know whenever we flew to O'Hare, you took the red line over
yeah,
to Chicagoland. So I forget where it was, and you come up and take a bus a couple blocks away or something. Anyway, it was very easy to get there.
uh-huh,
If you get out of Midway, I think it is the Orange Line. It lets you off right in front of the uh, Wrigley Field right there. But we used to do that. That's what made that such a good day trip. But we hadn't done that in a while.
yeah, yeah.
But we used to do that
You
all the
said something
time.
about the Cubs, and as a Cardinals fan, I just completely tuned you out and didn't listen.
Oh boy, well that's okay, man. I'm a Cardinals fan.
Just kidding, just
I
kidding.
used to have all their baseball cards when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Bob Gibson, Lou Brock. You don't even remember those guys, do you?
Oh, I'm a Cardinals fan. I remember. I don't
Right,
remember
dude.
them. I don't remember they were playing, but I know who they are. So
Yeah.
yeah, Bob Gibson with his ERA, what was it, 68 when he had the .98 ERA.
Mm.
So
Yeah. See, I don't know about all that.
so
You're a bigger
but,
fan than me.
yeah, but
Oh yeah,
it,
like that.
yeah, I bet it'd be harder to make those day trips now with all that security and junk. But
It would. It's still possible,
yeah,
but the thing is now everybody has more flights than they used to as well.
mm-hmm,
Uh, just the way it is, the airlines are bigger, and so there's more out of Nashville. There's more flights now than there used to be. So you can still do it. People still
yeah,
do it, but it gets to be a little much. We tried it a few times. It just got to be a lot.
yeah,
Anytime you get up early and go to the airport and then go to security, and then on top of everything else, it's just added time, and And if you have to get up early the next morning, you're just exhausted. So
Yeah.
we just kind of quit doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I'm one of those people, I'll get to the airport and sit and wait for 2 hours for my flight just so I can make sure I get there and not have to
Mm.
push
Oh,
it.
I was that way. I was that
Yeah.
way too, man. Because no telling how many. I mean, it didn't matter how many times I flew. I would always get anxiety
Hmm.
before I got on the plane. Like, is it going to fill up? Is a big group going to come up at the last minute and bump me off the plane? Or, you know, I don't want to be late. The long line at security, because you can't judge that. That
Yeah.
varies every day. And,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm the same way, man. 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember a few years back when Holly's niece was going to move here from California. I was supposed to fly to Las Vegas to meet her and my mother-in-law because they were going to drive there. It's like 4 hour drive, and then we're going to leave out, spend the night, leave out, drive out this way. And I was flying Frontier, and I think it was like 6 o'clock when the flight was supposed to leave, 6 p.m. And it kept getting delayed, and then finally it was like canceled. Of course, everybody like gets lined up at the desk, and then the lady out there is like, either you can fly to Vegas in the morning, or you can get a refund. And I was like, that's all I need to know. So I started walking out because at St. Louis at Lambert, all the airplanes are in Terminal 2, and the Southwest is the only one in Terminal 1.
Mm.
And I got on my phone and called Holly and went, my flight just got canceled, and I'm supposed to be meeting your mom and your niece in Vegas tonight, And so she
Mm.
got on there, and there was 2 Southwest flights. One that was like leaving in 20 minutes, and the other was like 45. And I'm like, get the one for 45 because And so she was booking it all, and I saw a TSA agent, and I'm like, if I leave this terminal and go to Terminal 1, I have to go through security again? And she's like, yes, because you have to completely leave. So she showed me where the shuttle was that took you from terminal to terminal. And I remember I had bought 2 bottles of Coke Zero at the airport because, to take on the flight. And of course, they won't let you take liquids like that on the plane. So I was like drinking them both on this short
Yeah.
shuttle flight over, and end up getting there, and Holly ended up getting that and like emailing me all the passes and stuff and all this. And luckily there wasn't a big line at the security at the time. And I ended up having to fly, got to that gate like right when they had everybody lining up to go in. And I was like in the C group, so I'm like, who knows what kind of seat I'm going to get. But luckily way in the back, there was some kid sitting next to the window. He's a kid. He was like late teens, early 20s. And he was sitting by himself. And so I grabbed that aisle seat next to him and ended up having to fly to San Diego. And then I didn't have to change planes. I just had to stay on, and then flew into Vegas and ended up getting there about 12:30 or so. And which was good. But it was funny, between San Diego and Vegas, there was only like 11 passengers on that plane. And the stewardess come around, instead of pouring us those little glasses of soda, they just handed us the whole can. They're like, here, here. And they went and sat down. They didn't want to mess with it,
Right.
And but flying into Vegas at night was pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Lights,
You can see all the lights. That's the time to go to Vegas or fly in. You're right. At night. Man, when I first started working at Southwest for years, they didn't have like boarding group A, B, and C and all that, or 1 through 20. It was just cattle call. I mean, when they opened the door, it's just like, you better be if you want to get on first, you better be up there, near the door. That, to me, that was the craziest concept I'd ever seen in my life. Just like you would get trampled.
Yeah. I wonder why they don't assign seats like other ones do. Is that
I
just
can tell you why. This is inside information. I don't. It's not really, but because it takes so long.
really?
Yeah, Southwest. I don't know what they are now, but they did used to. Every single plane that they had would stay up in the air 2 hours longer than their nearest competitor, and it's because they turn their planes fast all day long. Because if they're sitting on the ground, they're not making money.
All right.
So they got to get it back up in the air. So it was way faster to open the door and say, if you're going to Phoenix, you got 10 minutes, pretty much. And then they shut the door. And they shut the door. Otherwise, if they assign you row 10, seat 3, you're like, people just walking around looking for row 10 because they're not familiar with it,
Yeah.
And somebody else is in seat 3. So some people just like, no, that's my seat. I've got to have that one. And I don't do aisle. That's the reason I bought a window seat. It was just takes way, way longer. So that's the reason. And that's the reason for years they were the low cost carrier, because that was one of the reasons, because each plane stayed up in the air 2 hours longer than their nearest competitor, which that's how much more money they were making. I mean, if you multiply that by the number of planes they had, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is a lot of money. That makes sense though, because a lot of people just wait. I've noticed that it hasn't been that long ago since our movie theater went from like a general admission to signs to numbered seats, and you buy the seats when you buy the ticket.
Mm-hmm.
And it used to be if there was a big movie you wanted to see, I would get there like an hour early just so I can get a good seat in the middle and the back. But with the signed seats now, I'll just get on my phone early and buy the tickets, and then you can get there, right when it's starting, and you got your seats. And I've noticed that, it used to be the theater would fill up, and then the movie would start. But now it's like, since people have their seats like almost guaranteed, since they're numbered, there's a lot more people coming in, like during the previews and stuff like that.
Oh, is it?
It used to be, hardly anybody would do that, but yeah.
Man, our little movie theater here in Jamestown, it's I think I told you before, it's $5.
Oh, that's nice.
And they have 2 movies. The ones that's out now is The Fall Guy and King Kong versus Godzilla, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a fun little theater to go to. It's never, I won't say it's never crowded. When a new movie comes out, the first week you don't want to go that weekend.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's great, man, to go in there during a weeknight and it'll be you and 3 other people in the theater.
Yeah.
No matter what's playing, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Our theater used to do, before the pandemic, our theater used to have like movies that would start like 8 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
That was always fun. Before I'd go like, I remember seeing like League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Sean Connery's last movie he ever made. I went and saw it like at 8:30 in the morning. It was me and somebody else. That was it.
Yeah.
Now they start like at noon. It's like, man.
Yeah. I used to always like going to the matinees. I felt like I was on vacation or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Going to a movie right in the middle of the day.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I like.
So what did Arnie say down there?
Arnie said he remembering. Let's see if it pulls up here. There we go. He says, I remember flying Southwest in the 80s when the boarding passes were shaped like the state of California at Oakland Airport. And always try to get a pass under 30. So.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I never saw one of those boarding passes shaped like that. But I didn't deal with boarding passes. I just had a little card I would show and get on the plane. So I don't know what the boarding pass is.
Yeah. I wonder if old boarding passes like that. I bet some of those are pretty neat. I bet there's somebody out there that collects old boarding passes.
Oh, I'm sure there is, dude.
Yeah.
People collect airline paraphernalia and stuff, just or memorabilia, just like they do everything else. I mean, there's people that loves that stuff, and there's people that work out there, and I'm thinking they should have retired 10 years ago at least, but they love being around airplanes, and when they, another airline will plane will land, they'll tell you what models they are and what kind of engines they got. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Some people love it. And I've been doing it for so long. I'm just like, it's just an airplane, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. It's just kind of all runs together. It's like, I can tell you like mailbox brands and different ones and my favorite brands and the ones I hate to deliver the worst in. And Yeah, just from having to deal with those all the time. But I'm
Man,
not going to start collecting mailboxes. I'm not going to start that. So
yeah. Man, living up here, dude, every time I open my mailbox, I look inside to make sure there's not a critter of some kind in there.
yeah,
Have you ever, uh, pulled up to a mailbox and be like a wasp nest
yep,
or
yep.
something like that, and you're like, "Oh, but Jesus, get out of here."
Yeah, it happens all the time, and the wasps build them nests fast. What I'm a lot more careful now, and um, a lot of times, on me, they'll get in our what we call the cluster boxes, where you have a bunch of mailboxes in one unit, and it has an outgoing mail slot. The wasps like to get in there, and if you
Mm-hmm.
catch it early, you knock that nest down several times, they'll quit trying to build there. But
Mm-hmm.
I've been stung. I remember one time I was pretty new at carrying, and there was a house, and these people never used their front door. Um, at all, but they had a door slot in there, and I didn't know that they had a mailbox around on the carport. So I went
Mm-hmm.
up and opened that storm door and slid the mail in and shut it. And all in all, I'm getting stung, and I look, and they're up at the top between the storm door and the front door it's just all solid wasp nest.
Oh my
It
word!
was built up there, and but I only got stung a couple of times. But yeah, it happens a lot. Um, you just kind of got to spray them.
Mm-hmm.
Opened one box up and saw a black widow in there with its nest, spider webs all over
Yes,
it.
yeah, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah,
You don't stick
yeah,
your hand in a hole all day and not
yeah,
not expect to get
yeah,
bit or stung by something.
yeah, and
They're just in there hanging out.
yeah, and when it's wet, ants really get in people's mailboxes a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to get rid of the ants out of your mailbox is just to leave your mailbox door open.
How about the uncles? Do the uncles get in there too?
No, just the ants.
All right, sorry,
Uncles
man.
are
Go
too
ahead.
the uncles are too lazy. But yeah, if you get a bunch of ants in your mailbox, just leave the mailbox door open overnight. They'll leave. Because
Really?
they like being shut up in there. But when you leave
Okay.
it open, they're too out in the open for everything, and they'll just leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people spray them, and then you got like dead ants all summer long laying around in your
Yeah.
box. Just
Yeah.
leave it open all night. Yep, it'll be fine. So, yeah. Arnie says that "Critters in the Mailbox" sound like a good country song. So,
That sounds like a more like a bluegrass song
yeah,
to
they
me than a country song,
that
but it's
went.
still in the same vein.
Yeah, there was a carrier I carried with, and he had a feud with this customer on his route. I don't even remember what it was about. They hated each other,
Mm-hmm.
and this customer put a dead cat in his mailbox
Oh
and
gosh,
put the flag up so he'd come by and open it. And it was like, and he did. So he just like slung the mail in there on top of it. It's like, you guys are taking it too far, you know?
man, what's
But
troublesome is where did he get a dead cat?
that's the thing. He probably created it on his own, you
Oh my
know?
word,
Yeah,
it's horrible.
it's that good old Southern grudge thing we were talking about earlier.
Hatfield McCoy,
But it's like, well, he's like, I showed him. It's like, you know,
yeah.
just put the mail on top of the dumb dead cat. It's like, jeez. But like, I don't even know what to get mad about like that.
Man, I tell you, yeah, I know you can't do it because it's like a federal offense, I guess. But I've always wanted to set the mailman up. You know how you would tape some fishing line to the inside of the door on the
uh,
mailbox, make it about 6 inches, and then tie it to like a rubber snake or a rubber mouse,
uh-huh.
so that when he pulls the door open, it like comes out on him.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't be a federal
You know,
offense. That'd be hilarious.
you don't think I'd get turned in, man?
No, no,
For that.
no. But uh, Harney says we have a couple of stories about dead cats. Oh boy.
And they have
So
some stories about ants too, man.
yeah, they do have
They had a
stories
big
about ants.
ant infestation up there
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Out
they
here.
did. But I yeah, you could do that as long as your carrier's cool. That's one
Well, see,
thing.
I don't
Yeah.
know them. I don't know who they are.
Well, get to know them. You know.
Well, you don't slow down long enough, because I've told
Yeah, oh
you
yeah,
about,
you got a rural carrier. That's a whole
yeah,
different animal. I wouldn't even
dude,
bother.
he drives from the other side of the car, and I mean, it's
Uh-huh.
just like leaning over with
Yeah,
one hand, the
yeah,
mailbox, put it over here, and I'm like, how does that guy go around the curves and everything?
yeah,
Just you would never know. But
Yeah.
he comes down and turns around because we live at the end of the road, like a
Uh-huh.
cul-de-sac, and he'll make that turn and slinging gravels, and I don't know, man. I was like,
Yeah.
why does he
Yeah.
drive so fast?
Well, well, it's because he gets paid on an evaluation, so he's
Mm,
going to get paid the same amount no matter what time he gets done. So the goal is to get done as fast as you
mm,
can.
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Well, well,
But
if nobody's ever seen a rural carrier like that drives from the other side, and if they're good at it, like this guy is, for these windy roads up here, it's a sight to see, man. 'Cause
yeah,
it's just,
yeah, they
he's
do
leaning.
they do get good at it, and but he wouldn't have your box lid open long enough for the fishing line to pull anything. It'd be open and shut
Nah,
so fast, you
yeah,
know. Yeah,
yeah.
but
But I may try that. I may put it in my neighbor's
there you
mailbox.
go. See how it
Blame
goes.
them for it. Stand out
Yeah,
there and video.
yeah. Well, thing is, you don't ever want to mess with your mailman too much because they can make life hard on you, and you'll never know it. So
Sure, I know.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I should do that or not.
yeah. Well, when I when I was carrying, there was these people, especially this guy. He would always like be a jerk every time. You know that I deliver their mail. He always had some kind of comment or something. You know, just a grade A jerk. And I ended up having a certified letter for him one day.
Mm,
And so I knocked on the door, and I'm like, I have a certified for, you know, their name. And I know it was them. And he goes, they don't live here. I said,
yeah.
okay, sorry about that. And I said, I put tempted not known and sent it back. So I started sending all their mail back
Mm,
because he told me they didn't live there. Well, when check day rolled around and they didn't get it because it got sent back,
mm.
you know, supervisor come up to me and was like, so and so said they didn't get their check, and I was like, they told me they didn't live there. He
Mm.
goes, oh, so he goes back to the phone. He comes back. He says, they said they've moved back in now. I said, okay.
Oh,
They
that's
never
funny.
bothered. They never bothered me again after that ever. You know.
Oh my goodness.
He said that check got sent back because he told me he didn't live there. So
Yeah.
yeah,
They were quick learners, huh?
yeah, they were quick learners. But
That's funny.
Ken, everybody, thanks for joining us here on the porch. Next week is Mother's Day. We will not have an episode next week because you guys may not know this, but Ken and I both have mothers, and we are both married to women that are mothers. And so it being Mother's Day, we need to take a chance to do that. Plus, my grandson has his first birthday party, and I have a niece graduating college. So the next weekend, especially Sunday, is full. So I'm just not going to be able to squeeze in the episode because of all the family stuff going on. So, but we'll be back the week after for sure with an episode. And guys, send us a message on Instagram or Facebook. Join us, not join us, that's our email, but on the porch and on the porch pod on Instagram, or send us email. Join us on the porch at gmail.com. And again, thanks so much for being here with us. And Ken, take us home.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody once again for listening to Todd and Ken on the porch. And we're gone.